problem.
Thank you for being with us. Our first item of business is to rotate our commission chair to myself. We'll take a motion on that.
I'll go ahead and make a motion.
I'll second it.
All in favor?
Aye.
Next item is the presentation of the Carbon County Employee of the Month. Rose, we'll turn the time to you.
Commissioners, our Employee of the Month, and I'm going to let Justin talk about Amy Jones from Emergency Services. And I have the privilege of knowing Amy both away from work and at work. And I would just like to say this woman, young woman, wears many hats and plays many different roles. And she truly is an amazing young woman, and I'd like to personally thank Amy. So we'll let Justin talk about her, and you come up here. I don't want to. She did want to come, and I said, no, you have to.
It's good to be here.
So Amy got hired not too long after I myself got hired as our CERT coordinator, and she has done a fantastic, amazing job as our CERT coordinator. She has held in the last year 4 or 5 CERT trainings. She's got a team, community emergency response team started out in East Carbon. She's done all sorts of other things for us. The sheriff's asked her to take on the Neighborhood Watch program, which she's taken up gladly and put her whole heart and soul into. So she does a lot of things on her day-to-day basis, but when she's here at the county, she dedicates 110% of herself. So we just wanted to say thank you for all that you've done for us, and congratulations.
Thank you, Amy.
Thank you.
Well deserved. Our next item, Commissioners, is the approval of our minutes. We do have 3 sets. We'll go with the first one is from May 11th, 2017. Are there any corrections or changes there?
I saw no corrections and make a motion to approve.
Please.
Yep.
On the second page of that, talks about there's some initials of WUFDA, and I don't think the definition of those initials were given earlier in the minutes. So we just have that spelled out, whatever that stands for, WUFDA. And I don't know what it stands for. I don't know if you do or not.
I do it some point in the past, so I can find it.
Justin might know right off the top of his head. That was with the Forest Service discussion.
WUFDA, Wildland Urban Interface. No.
Sorry, WUFDAS?
Yeah.
So that's the
Forest Development Area? I don't know.
What's the acronym?
WUFDAS. So when you do a WUFD, I can't remember. So anytime you have a big fire, you do a WUFDAS on a fire. That's to kind of project where it's going to go, what it's going to do, what protections we need to put in place. And I can't think of
What it stands for.
What it stands for.
So we'll
Okay. Thanks.
so we have that one change. Any others? We had a motion.
I'll amend my motion to include the spelling out of the acronym.
I have no further corrections, so I'll second that motion.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Next one is from May 17th. Any changes on that one?
I saw no changes.
I have to change, Commissioner, just if you have that reflected, I was also present at that meeting. You're supposed to have an attorney representing you formally at these meetings, so I can get out reflected I was there as well. And that change will also go for the June 7th one. I was also present, need to be listed on that one as well. But that's all I have.
Okay. I'll amend my motion to include Attorney Christian Briner at the meeting, and motion to approve.
Seconded.
All in favor? Aye.
Aye.
Thank you. Our last one is then from June 7th. We do have the one amendment there to add Christian Briner's name to the list. Are there any others, Commissioners?
I have no changes.
I'll make a motion to approve.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Thank you. Those are all passed. Our next item is to open sealed bids for the purchase of a mobile meals truck for the senior citizen. This is to replace the one that was in an accident and totaled. Seth.
So. How's that?
That's better. We only have to hear from you once.
I can be taught how to turn that off. It just takes a couple of times. So, the first bid is from Amtech Corporation. And it is for vehicle 23,150, and then the conversion to a mobile mills truck, the total vehicle cost of $44,140. Plus $1,400 for delivery. Good. See, you're good. Look at page 2. That's why we like Debbie. Okay, the next one. Is this is Mobile Advantage Amtech Corporation. This is the same one as we just got for. So this one has, this one's from Auto Farm, Price Ford. They've supplied 2. One is for $46,175, and the other is for $44,175, which includes the vehicle. They've attached the spec sheets for the heating and cooling, food transportation racks, and it's a 8 to 10 week wait date to get the vehicle delivered.
Is there a delivery charge on that one? I know it's priced auto
It's Auto Farm, so they'll have it here in town.
But if they're shipping it up to Amtech, is what it look. Is it Amtech that's putting the heating unit on it?
Yeah, but it looks like they're gonna have the heating unit sent down and added in here, so
Okay.
from what I can see, but we can clarify that with them if we want to call it later. And the last bid is from Tony Basso GM. And it is for $43,939.62.
43 what?
$43,939.62. I'll go ahead and make the motion to recognize those bids. And to recognize Tony Basso as being the lowest bid, but also to turn those over to the department head for further review and decision on the matter.
I'll second that.
All in favor? Aye.
Aye.
Thank you. Our next item is to open request for proposals for airport fixed base operator, RFBO.
And
Seth, we're back to you.
we have one RFP returns to us. It's from Redtail Air.
So I don't know that we were requesting any pricing in this. There shouldn't be any, I don't know that there's going to be a dollar amount to look for. other than their proposal, just a general package. So I don't know there's anything specific to check for at this point as far as
Just to
making sure
acknowledge that we received an RFP.
Yeah, I think that's all we need to do at this point.
And also that process that we've gone through might be good to note for the record too, Christian, if you want to, or I will.
Go ahead, Commissioner.
Just the fact that we had gone through a master plan and had been working on minimum standards and the need to renew our contract with the airport with an FBO. So that was sent out throughout the state and also into Colorado, and also personal phone calls made into area airports that do the FBO, and so that we would make sure we covered our bases in all fairness to anybody that might be interested. We have a long history, yes, with Red Tail, and we look forward to reviewing that. And Commissioners, we probably need to acknowledge that, but also perhaps suggest that we have J-Aviation and some others involved in reviewing that and then enter in negotiations to get a contract in place.
I'd also point out, Commissioner, we put the RFP out on the public notice website as well as advertised it in the Sun Advocate as well. So in addition to the efforts to specifically target different FBOs.
I'll make a motion to acknowledge the proposal from Red Tail Air and turn it over for review to J-Aviation and any other in-house employees that need to be part of that, and for negotiations.
Have a motion?
I'll second that.
Any other discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Aye. Thank you. Next item is consideration and possible approval of a revised contract for bookmobile services. Commissioners, we had a lengthy discussion in our last commission meetings where the contract was going to not be renewed, but we also then heard from the mayors. In working with the state library system, they have sent us an amended contract that would run for July 1st of 17 through 6/30 of 18. And that amount would be, for the county, would be $61,058.04. It would be able to be increased if the other partners in the community are able to come up with some additional funds as far as frequency and also additional stops. Also, it could be amended in working with them in regards to the stops and the frequencies that would be, put into this limited or reduced function of the bookmobile. And so in communicating with them, obviously there's a very open and willingness for them to take a look at it and work with us as communities to meet our needs. So that's the contract, obviously, that's before us. I would still encourage the school district and other cities and other interested parties to be part of that funding efforts, but that's what we have before us today.
When we do if we decide to agree to this agreement, one of the things I would like to look at from the bookmobile, from the state library services, what stops there are, and at what frequencies. There are areas in our community that do have libraries, and there are areas like East Carbon that do not. So if we can look at what stops are being looked at, that would be important for me, so that we get coverage in those areas that don't have any access to library services, and possibly reduce from those that do have library services, so that the areas are getting covered to the outer county and outer areas like East Carbon.
I would just add.
Would that be a possibility that we can review the stops? Yes, please come to the mic.
Britton Lund, Bookmobile Program Manager for the state of Utah. We're more than happy to evaluate it and have your input. How would you like us to do that?
I guess a list of what stops and at what frequencies you're proposing in this, and in this amended agreement for me, so that we can review it and see that we're getting coverage in the outer parts of our community first and foremost, and then we could work in from there.
We'd like to work with the mayors who have expressed a concern and make sure that as well in the unincorporated areas, if this is a service that will be ongoing, that those who really need it are getting that service.
Okay, so I gave you a proposed schedule last time. I didn't bring another copy of that with me. I am more than happy to email that to you and to the mayors and get their input. But let me just put one caveat on that. That is a summer schedule only. When school starts, we change the schedule. We take our school time during the summer and we put it, there is a park where they serve free lunch during the summertime. We go there during the summertime. We reduce our school time and increase our community time. So we would want your input for this summer schedule as well as again in the fall when we change.
Could
That
you
would be
send us
great.
both of those schedules?
I don't have the fall one yet, but I will send you the summer one and then we'll get you the fall one as soon as we have something designed.
Okay.
We could probably do that in a couple of weeks.
Very good.
Sounds great. Thank you.
Okay. And upon request from the mayors in our conversations, we're basically as a county buying one more year of service with the bookmobile with this amended contract, allowing for them to, as Commissioner Potter mentioned, find other revenue sources that could perhaps increase the frequency of stops and the type of service being offered, as well as to collaborate on ideas going forward in the future for perhaps a more permanent option aside from just the bookmobile that could increase and add to the literacy of our youth and our citizens in the area.
Thanks. Do we have a motion today?
I'll make a motion to approve the agreement for the amended amount with, who's this with? The with the Utah State Bookmobile Library.
Have a motion?
And a second, I would just add that dollar amount that the county is putting forth as an obligation of 61,000. Oh, where's it at?
$61,058.04.
Okay, $61,058.04.
We have a motion and a second. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Thank you. That motion passes. Yes, Mayor.
I would like to thank the commissioners for approving the continuation of the bookmobile. The mayors are set to have a meeting tomorrow morning, and we're going to discuss how we can get with the district. I know we've set up a meeting with them and then also with Pinnacle.
Perfect.
I would also ask that the commissioners also contact the school district board members and help us procure funding for the bookmobile for continuation. Thank you
We'll do
again.
that.
Thank you.
And Mayor, just to let you know, we have been in touch with the school district, and they have a lot of ideas that I'm sure they'll be sharing, and some of them include during the summertime when there is free lunch at their locations, perhaps opening up the libraries and providing some additional services that are not currently being offered. So there may be a lot of collaboration going forward, and I look forward to everyone working together.
Thank you, Mayor. Our next item is review and possible approval of the BLM right-of-way grant for Bruin Point. Barry.
Commissioners, I apologize, I was going to get the exact date, but approximately 7 years ago, we worked with the BLM to seize a set of personal property that was on Bruin Point. The company walked away from it, and so we seized the tower and building. It was on a BLM lease, and so we in turn gave it to the BLM because they had no desires to continue a lease on that property. In exchange for us giving them the tower and building, they offered us space inside the building free of charge for us. Somehow the paperwork got missed those years ago, and so this is an agreement with the BLM in order for us to occupy the building free of charge, and it describes what we're allowed to put there.
Basically, just formalize an agreement, a handshake agreement we've had with them.
Correct.
Do we have a motion?
Unless we have any council.
I've looked at it and it looks fine to me. I think it's a very favorable lease in every respect towards the county, so it looks great to me.
Motion to approve?
I'll second that.
Anything else, Barry? All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Our next item is review and possible approval of BLM modification of contract for noxious weed control. Chris?
Okay, so this is the amendment. It's actually kind of an amendment to the original contract that we had with the BLM. They give us $10,000 each year to spray noxious weeds on BLM properties that go through the county, like with county roads. We would go through the county roads, and if we're on BLM property, then they give us monies to spray the noxious weeds. So this is just signing the amended contract for that.
I believe this is year 3, isn't it, of this particular amendment?
I believe so, yeah, year 3 of the amendment.
And Chris, just as a side question, is this amount that they're providing us, is it adequate for the chemicals that are being purchased for that and the other resources used?
Probably not.
I would imagine.
Yeah, I don't think so. I don't think it's quite adequate, but that's what they're offering to help pay for. So,
don't know if there's anything we can do as that comes up for formal renewal, but we ought to look at that, Christian, on that specific contract.
So keep in mind, kind of, maybe keep a close eye on what we're spending in total resources, not just chemicals.
oh, okay, yeah. I think we go over the 10,000 every year. I don't remember the exact amount, but that's all they'll reimburse us for.
Okay. If as you're getting some numbers, maybe just shoot Christian an email so he has it as a record, so that going forward we can work on those agreements.
Okay, yeah.
If there's anything we can do.
Yeah, okay, yeah, sure.
I'll make a motion to approve the contract for noxious weed control.
Have a motion?
And a second?
All in favor?
Aye.
Thank you, Chris. Our next item is a review and possible approval of the State of Utah contract amendment for the CJC. Shelley.
Hello, Commissioners.
Hi, Shelley.
So this is just an amendment we do every single year. We are getting $110,382 for this next fiscal year, starting July 1. It's actually a couple thousand more than they gave us last year. So this does not reflect any rollover money. So if there is rollover money from this last fiscal year, they'll have to probably do another amendment to include the rollover, but we won't know until our reports are in. So.
And Shelley, I know this comes from the Attorney General's office, but would you just share specifically which part of your program that it goes towards this particular grant? Because you have a lot of grants.
I do. This pot of money funds the investigation and collaboration with law enforcement, Child Protective Services, Utah Attorney General's office, Guardian Ad Litem's office, to help investigate child abuse cases, provide services to the families, refer families to medical, mental health therapy, sexual abuse exams. So it's the child abuse investigation part of our program.
It's a big program.
It is.
That one particular part.
And this is the one that we have our satellite center in Emory County. So this pot of money actually helps fund the satellite center too.
Perfect. Any other questions, Commissioners?
No, I'll go ahead and make a motion to approve if it's needed.
I'll second that.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Thank you, Shelley.
Thank you. And can I come get it signed
You
and I
bet.
can get it mailed out?
And after Commissioner Potter signs it, can Rita go make a copy real fast? Okay.
Man, you got him trained already.
Thank you. Next item is consideration and possible approval of amendment to the contract with Division of Substance Abuse and Mental Health to increase their contract amount for SFY 17 and SFY 18. I don't see anybody here from Four Corners. Want to take that one, Commissioner?
Sure, I can take that. Purpose of this amendment, if we just read off the bullet, it's adding funding, as you mentioned, for the Utah Department of Human Services and for their vendor contracts this year. The amended amount is an additional $18,983, as we can see there in the new contract. That's pretty much everything that we have there as far as their Division of Substance Abuse and Mental Health. Again, this funding is not from the county, but from the state Division of Substance Abuse and Mental Health.
We like it when it goes up.
Yes, we do. Nothing really different than previous year other than the dollar amount.
I'll make a motion to approve.
Have a motion?
And a second?
And all in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Thank you. Our next item is a review and possible approval of the UDPS Price Communication Cooperative Agreement and budget for fiscal year 2017 and 18. Casey Hopes.
Commissioners, 2 years ago, the state passed a law that public dispatchers would receive public safety retirement. So the amounts that are being paid to those retirements would increase. The state took care of that increase for 2 years, and this is the first year that they will be adding that increase to the counties and to the cities. So we are paying for that increase. I believe the increase was around $70,000 to last year's previous contract. The amount that the county will be paying is around $40,000. Seth, you're better with the numbers. Will you go through those numbers and just for everybody's information and tell what the county and the cities will be paying in extra?
Yeah. So the contribution from Carbon County for this runs off the state's fiscal year, so the fiscal year ending June 30th, 2017, we just ended. The Carbon County contributed $307,983. For this new year, Carbon County will contribute $340,598. So about a $33,000 increase for the county. Additionally, funds that were received, the 911 funds that the county receives, which is a surcharge on everybody's phone bill, we'll put in $30,000 of that to help alleviate the blow this year on the budgets on the cities. The different cities also are taking an increase this year, approximately $10,000 difference for Price City, about $3,000 for Helper, an additional $2,500 to Wellington and East Carbon. It's dispatch. We like them to answer the phone when we call, but the interesting thing on this contract, the Price Communication Center, is the state also in this year, they've changed the agreement of how dispatch, the 911 funds will be collected and distributed. So instead of it coming to the county and the county being the fiscal agent for 911 funds, those will begin to be paid directly to the dispatch center. Along with that, we've gone through the process of changing over some of our phone lines, some of those expenses that we've been paying before into the dispatch center's name, so that they can now, since they're receiving the funds, they also get to pay the bills. There was an increase. I believe it used to be 61 cents. Now it's 71 cents on those phone lines. But it'll be interesting to watch and see how that one plays out with the funding, because before those funds were received based off of where the billing address was for the telephone, no matter where they were at. So some areas like Moab that would have a higher volume of 911 calls because people are there, the 911 funds would be paid to wherever the billing address of the people that had the phone was. Now it'll be routed based on call volume to the individual dispatch centers. And so it'll be interesting to see how much, the type of funds that we receive at our dispatch center. Since they've changed the way it's calculated, we'll have to watch and see. But from the projections, we should be about the same. But those are projections. So
yeah, we'll have to see how that rolls out. One thing to note for Barry and the IT department, because they are taking all of the monies, if they have us come do any technical work, that will be a bill to them because they are taking all the money. So we'll have to work out an agreement as we move forward with those IT problems concerning the dispatch itself. So.
The other thing, I think, for the record, their total budget for this coming fiscal year is $1,178,058, of which the state of Utah picks up $572,229, and the balance to be paid by the entities that were just described is $589,029. Of that $589,000, the county portion is $340,598, and then the remainder of that is split between the cities. That includes on the county side of it a large portion, $235,612 in covering the county, and then an additional $104,986 to cover the unincorporated portion of the county. So that's where our $340,598 comes to.
And if there's any questions on that, the way that's calculated, the distribution is based off of the census, so it's built off of population. That was the most fair metric we could come up with as far as distributing costs. So,
if there's no further discussion to be had, I'll go ahead and make a motion to approve.
I'll second that.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Thank you. Our next item is review and possible approval of a lease agreement with AVAD Operating LLC for Starpoint Communications Site.
Commissioners, I think Seth knows about this one. This is, I think, we're just simply changing tenants primarily for an already existing lease on an operation site. So it's going over now to AVAD Operating from, I believe, Anadarko in the past.
correct.
In reviewing that, I didn't see that it changed much between the two agreements at all. So the payments and so forth would still
Just as far as the operator, yeah.
be back, just simply the...
And it's a renewable
space.
one-year agreement. We can look at it, relook at it at any time that we feel like we need to.
Correct. I received an email from AVAD Operating. They've reviewed it and they're fine with it. We did, in the county's review, there was one question of whether or not we wanted to make a change to item number 6 on this contract. In item number 5, there's a provision that says that the landlord is not responsible for impassability or access to the building due to weather conditions, road conditions, because it's out in a remote area. The question from our IT department was whether or not, because we also provide the power to that building, if we should include similar language in item 6 in case there's a power failure out there, that we should be held, that they would indemnify, that they would not hold us harmless in case there was power failure out there, since we're providing the power to them and they can't operate their stuff, or whether or not it was necessary. That was the question, if we wanted to add a hold harmless clause to number 6 for a utility disruption, since we provide the utilities, or they use our utilities there. So that was the only concern or question, if we wanted to make a change from the old version to the new version. So
It's probably not a bad idea. Barry, how is our power out there, our utilities?
Commissioners, currently we've had a design created to replacement of the substation that we own at Start Point. The substation runs very inefficiently. Typically during any kind of windstorm, we lose power to the site, which requires an electrician to go replace the fuse. So power outages are common on that location. We run an emergency generator to run our facility, but that emergency generator does not supply AVAD's site. So once our substation loses power, their site also loses power.
Christian, recommendations? Change that?
Yeah, I'm happy to make that change. I think that's fine. That's fair.
Commissioners, what do you think?
I'm good with the change.
I'll go ahead and make a motion to approve with that change, as is dictated by Christian to us later.
I'll second that.
All in favor?
Aye.
Motion to adjourn?
I'll make the motion to adjourn.
We're adjourned. Thank you for being with us.